Yeah, well, going everyone. So getting into this video, I must say it is indirectly requested by Siege of Six Ass. Yeah. So if you're watching, shoutouts to you, man or girl. I don't know. But anyway, you said, can you make a video explaining how Naruto, Sasuke, and Boruto will beat Isshiki in the upcoming chapters? I made a reply. Of course, you replied after that saying that okay, that's fine, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna win somehow, but Ishiki's still gonna take a walk in my opinion. Anyway, welcome everyone, Sanjay Uchiha here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we have a very interesting discussion. As you can see by the title, this intro that we have here, a nice discussion, no fancy editing, just me and you guys talking about how Naruto, Sasuke, and Boruto can, you know, beat Isshiki, quote unquote. Of course, we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, so I would appreciate the support as we, try to make that goal before the end of the year. Like the video and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below based on, what I have to say with this video. So getting into it, this video, as I said, is indirectly requested by Caesar6 Ass. Why indirectly? The reason being that, I spent most time, well, most of my videos from last week, I either directly stated, indirectly stated, implied, whatever the case may be, I basically flat out stated that Naruto, Sasuke, and Boruto, well, Naruto and Sasuke will not be able to defeat Isshiki, and even with Boruto being there, being the additional factor or the new factor that's going to affect the flow of the fight, even if Momoshiki comes out, based on how Momoshiki scales to Naruto and Sasuke based on their previous fight, I don't see him making a drastic difference against Isshiki in this upcoming fight. So yeah, but to entertain or facilitate the request, today I want to talk about or address the problem with Naruto and Sasuke in Boruto and kind of talk about how they can appropriately represent themselves in the fight with Isshiki, even if they're going to lose. So let's get right into it. So Naruto and Sasuke, for the most part, I feel like a lot of persons within the Boruto community, whether you hate Boruto, like Boruto, love it, whatever the case may be, I feel like a lot of persons are not content, they are not satisfied with how Naruto and Sasuke have been represented within the Boruto era of the series. Personally, I know persons complain about, Naruto, Sasuke constantly losing in the Boruto era, but I think the root of the problem is how they're represented. And even going back to about chapter 32, 33 for the Boruto manga, when we had Naruto going up against Delta, one of the problems I had with that fight was how Naruto was being represented in some instances in the fight. Yes, he was holding back in the fight, but there was one or two instances where I felt like Naruto's abilities weren't being accurately, his stats weren't accurately being represented in that fight. And I think that goes to say, or it goes back to what I'm saying with the larger problem with how, the Boruto fans or the Boruto slash Naruto community perceive Naruto and Sasuke in this era, is that they're just not being represented properly. So it goes back to even me, where I personally believe that I don't really care if Naruto and Sasuke get their ass beat like every day, but it just comes down to, is the writer making proper use of their abilities in the fight? That's the key thing, because it doesn't make sense where if Naruto could win the fight by just making 100 shadow clones, and we're supposed to be watching a fight for argument's sake where Naruto only makes 5 shadow clones, and naturally in our head with the material that we have before, there is a series before Boruto, we know Naruto can make 100 clones really easy. If you came out of a fight, or if you came out of reading or watching a fight like that with Naruto and you lost, you would have a really bitter taste in your mouth. Like, it just wouldn't make sense. That's not an accurate representation of what Naruto is supposed to do. You'll be saying like, yo, he should have been able to win the fight, and it's not made a point that he was holding back, so it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think that's the big problem with Naruto and Sasuke really in this era of the story, of the universe. So with that out of the way, we need to go and talk about the fight between Naruto Sasuke Boruto versus Isshiki Otsutsuki. Now, this is going to be kind of hard because, as I said, most of my videos last week, I spoke about the fact that there's no way they can win. There's not much has changed between their last fight and now. And on Ishiki's side, a lot has changed. He's become much more powerful. So I don't know how they're going to approach the fight. Now, if I'm being completely honest, even though I say not much has changed, Naruto and Sasuke and Boruto, they have intel now in terms of how Ishiki's, well, some intel in terms of how Ishiki's abilities actually work. And that was seen in chapter 49 actually, with Sasuke and Boruto making use of the transformation technique and the karma seal to actually transfer Isshiki to the dimension that they're in now when ready to fight. So yeah, there is some intel on their side, but I don't think they have enough intel on Isshiki to really make a difference. Now, we do know, and I did go over this in my How Strong is Isshiki video, you can definitely check that out, but there's a little refresher. We know Isshiki possesses physical strength ridiculous enough to get past a 6 parts perfect Susanoo and Teal Beast cloak with ease. ease, keyword ease. He does have a Byakugan, he does have Sukuna Ikona, which allows him to shrink himself and other inanimate objects, which does also extend to like chakra based techniques. We do have him having Daikokuten, store things in a timeless dimension, the stuff that he's shrunk, and he can bring them back almost instantaneously. Am I missing anything? Sukuna Ikona, Daikokuten, Byakugan, ridiculous physical strength, chakra rods, Binatsutsuki. Yeah, I think that's all for now. And whatever else he might be hiding up his sleeve. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really a stat deck against Naruto and Sasuke. So getting into how you can like accurately represent Naruto and Sasuke in this fight, right? Given the intel they know about him, I think they might have to, and the thing is as well, the fact that what Sasuke did with Boruto, Isshiki is going to even have his guard up now against stuff like transformation techniques, because I was thinking along the lines of they're going to use a bunch of shadow clones with Naruto's part, right? We're going to use some tactics, we're going to use some transformation techniques, we're going to, because the thing is, things like Tail Beast Bomb, Rasen Shurikens, Amaterasu, Susanoo arrows, any ridiculous jutsu like that, it doesn't matter because Isshiki would be able to shrink them. So the thing is, what I believe is that using Shadow Clone's transformation technique and layer that, if it will work, layer that with Genjutsu as well. Because the thing is, since Isshiki has already seen them, use transformation technique, and Boruto basically transformed into Sasuke's sword. Sasuke threw him, turned out to be Boruto. Isshiki realized he couldn't shrink it, so Isshiki is going to be basically aware. Like if he tries shrinking something and doesn't realize that it isn't shrinking, he'll probably expect that it's going to be like one of them transformed. Because the thing is, what I was thinking, they could probably prepare like a technique and basically use transformation technique, but Ishiki's gonna expect that. So I think Genjutsu and Sasuke's part, if it will work, I don't know if Genjutsu works on Otsutsuki's. I don't think we've ever really seen nobody try that. God, it's hot here. But yeah, maybe that might be the outline factor. Because as I said, most of Naruto and Sasuke's biggest techniques, which I feel like a lot of persons complain about when they lose, like they didn't do this or that, but it doesn't make sense because you can just shrink it. And Daikokuten kind of eliminates the weakness of Sukuna Ikona, because he can only shrink stuff that he is within his line of sight, with that eye at least. I don't know, as I said in my previous video, I don't know if he can combine it with his Byakugan, which would be ridiculous, but hey. But yeah, Daikokuten kind of makes up for his weakness. So if Naruto's like a bunch of shadow clones and Y'all rushing him from different sides with different techniques. He can still just use Daikoku to kind of cover him, because the thing is, as I mentioned in my previous video as well, that Isshiki has been living for quite a bit of time, so we don't know all the things he has in his timeless dimension that he could probably use for defense. And besides, even if he's bombarded, he can always use space-time ninjutsu to get out of there. So yeah, that's the thing. And with his physical strength, if he does decide to say, oh, he's gonna kill them, like, it's not gonna take a lot of hits to actually get them on their knees for the most part, as we saw in the last fight when he was weaker, much less. So it's just difficult to see how they're going to win. But in reviewing the comments on my previous videos, the idea of the Drogon making a difference was brought up, and besides being able to, you know, it seems like it can predict movements like Sharingan, and, you know, predict or see where persons who use space-time ninjutsu are going to reappear and appear. We're gonna need something else to actually we're gonna need something else to actually level the playing field with Isshiki. The best I could say is probably if the Drogon is able to maybe access the dimension or bring back stuff from the dimension that Isshiki can store things in or something. That's the only thing I can imagine. I don't know. It's very hard to come up with a strategy here. Very hard. But the only other thing I can say is that the only other weakness to really consider is the fact that it hasn't been made a point, but Ishiki's body isn't ideal to handle his power. So I don't know if it's going to be a case where if he really exerts himself, his body decays faster. That's the only other thing I can say in terms of how they can possibly win. Because, yeah, there's not really much more. There is the, you know, the Kurama perfect Susanoo combination, but like, honestly, it's like whatever. Not really gonna make a big difference, really. Ishiki's physically stronger than them. He has the techniques to cover his defenses. Yeah, it's Sage of Six Ass. It's I don't know. We do know Isshiki is going to get the karma on Kawaki because of the flash forward, but in terms of beating Isshiki, I don't know. The only thing possible is, as I said, probably his body decay is faster or something. Probably the Drogon makes a difference. But outside of that, I don't see it. Momoshiki, I know Boruto got a major power boost regarding when Momoshiki took over his body with Boro, even when he had a limited amount of chakra. And that's the next thing. In terms of the power boost Boruto gets when he goes to that state, it's ambiguous, because the question is now, is a Boruto who has a 100% of his chakra and then taken over by Momoshiki, is he stronger than when Naruto, and is he stronger than when he was alive and just ate Kinshiki? Do Otsutsukis become more powerful via taking over bodies? So for example, yeah, Momoshiki, when you fight Naruto and Sasuke after he ate Kinshiki, by giving his karma to somebody and then taking over their body to that level 2 karma state with the horn, is at that point, is Momoshiki in that sense stronger than the Momoshiki that Naruto and Sasuke fought? Because if that's the case, maybe, just maybe, factor in the strategy and tactics that Sasuke and Naruto would employ, maybe they could win that way. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. We just have to wait and see how the fight go. Honestly, I don't know. I'm fresh out of ideas. Honestly, if you guys have some ideas, I'll do a follow-up video on this. I don't think I've ever done a video where I just cover like comments, but I'll heart all those comments, and I'll probably do a follow-up video discussing. It would probably be lengthy, but I'll do a follow-up video, like, you know, going through the comments of how you think they can probably win, and, you know, talk about it in a follow-up video. Because this video is getting kind of long. So, yeah. Anyway, Sanjay Uchiha here. Let me know what you think. It's kind of getting hot with all these lights, and just a million and one more things to do before work tomorrow. So, yeah. But anyway, this has been a very, very casual ramble slash discussion. So thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it, guys. We're almost to 1,000, as I said. Let's make that. Let's like up the video, share it out, don't know. And yeah, just respect for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video. Yeah.